What happens when a bigger Marine gets critically injured and or facing death on the battlefield? Well, guess what? He needs to go inside a bigger Dreadnought. Spiking bits. What's up, Hobby Maniacs? Welcome back to Space Marine Fest 2017. This is the new Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought. Dun dun dun. This bad boy is going for $65 US. Available now at your local game store and, of course, Games Workshop online as well. Now, it's not as well detailed, or excuse me, it's even more detailed as the Redemptor Dreadnought, which also goes for around the same price, but unfortunately it's only one sprue. This is multiple sprues in here. It is one of the largest, as we've seen in some comparison pictures out there, one of the largest Dreadnoughts out there as far as like size goes. It towers over the Resin Leviathan from Forge World. Now, of course, this one is well, like I said, I guess it fits the Primaris ones in there. Once Marines keep getting bigger, well, everything else has to get bigger around it, right? I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, it's just math. I'm not a Marine biologist. I don't know how armor works, but if you got a bigger dude, you need a bigger can to put them in when something goes wrong on the battlefield, and there it is right there. Now, of course, it's got a lot of moving parts, which you're going to see in the instructions. It's got a few different weapon loadouts. You can go with the Onslaught Heavy Gatler Cannon, and of course, a smaller version of it over here on the fist, a heavy flamer, or you can just go straight fist if you want, I think. The macro plasma incinerator also goes on the weapon arm here, but you are not able to do double rifleman style on this bad boy at the current time. Now, of course, the Sarcophagus is, well, a little bit bigger than what we're accustomed to, and as you can see right there, and it's got the flip-up armor options. Now, of course, the guy, it's not piloted. The guy isn't going to get in and get out, as far as I know. Now, I haven't read the fluff on anything different from the Dreadnought, so I just assume that they're going to put their critically injured ones in here. If I'm misspeaking, definitely leave it in the comments below, but I have not read any occurrences of that happening yet. So again, $65 US, available now. Let's take a closer look at it. It's going to give you three fantastic sprues right here, a 1, a 2, and a 3. We'll take a closer look at those in a second. A brand new transfer sheet that we haven't seen in the past. Of course, I would imagine we'll see more of this on perhaps the new tank and maybe a flyer if we ever get one at the Overlord flyer. Who knows if we will, but here's all of the icons right here. Remember, they seem to be changing them from fast attack, heavy support, elite, and such like that to battle line, close support, etc., etc. Lots of chapter numbers and things. And then here's the instructions, which are going to give us a little bit of a preview. Oh, and the base right here. Now, this base, at first look, I was like, yo, it's just an 80 millimeter base, but then I started measuring it, and it measures up to a roughly almost 3.5 inches right here. Remember, each inch is roughly 25.4 millimeters. So you're talking 1, 2, 3, roughly 75. That would be 76. That would be 76.2 to right here. And then if you add another half in, which is roughly, we'll say 12. Oh, so if that's 25, roughly 12.2. So you're up around 90 millimeters right here. This looks to be a 90 millimeter base. It's much larger than I originally thought it was. But hey, it kind of makes sense once you start thinking about how big this Dreadnought really is. So here's the different loadout options here. You've got, of course, one with the Gatler, one with the plasma, one with just the Gatler, the heavy Gatler right there, and the fist, and then of course the back view of all of that. Now, once you get into it and you start reading it, you're definitely going to want to slow down, take your time, shave off all your mold lines so everything fits, because this is an extremely large and maybe not complicated, but I would just say vastly multi-part, customizable. I don't know, add word in there, but this thing is legit because there is so much detail on it. I mean, you start with the left halves of the chassis here. It starts forming the sarcophagus. You got power cables leading into the power pack. The power pack has separate nozzles for its exhaust stacks right here. Then it slots into the bottom piece, and that's going to have what is the start of the sarcophagus area with the flip-up pieces right here, and then it gets into more and more in-depth stuff. Now right here you can see you've got the hinged piece that forms the bottom of the sarcophagus assembly, and then it goes into even more and more here You've got these little pieces that you're not supposed to glue because you're going to have to twist them to fit in the sides, it looks like. And then you've got all the armor plating that goes on that we're accustomed to. You got some options here, Storm Bolter or Fragstorm grenade launchers. And then the bottom, you can pick your Sarcophagus even, right here. I think there was a couple styles of it, wasn't there? Oh no, that's the front plate. So this is going to be the same. Then you're going to have the flips. And then over here, you're going to see where the pieces start being able to move. So you're not going to want to glue any of this down because everything flips up and down, and you got more armor plates that go on the back. And of course, the Icarus missile launcher right up there for taking down flyers or attempting to hurt them. Now the legs look pretty cool because you've got these parts that, again, do not glue them in because you've got these little pistons, you've got these little swivels, very similar to what we've seen in the past on the Titans even, right? So don't glue any of that together, it just kind of snaps in. You're going to have to glue the pieces here highlighted in yellow, those particular planes, and then you're going to jump over to the side and more armor plates and things like that. But remember, you've got these almost customizable. We saw this with the Wraith Lord, remember? See these little yellow notches or knobs right there? Those are your, basically, those are your safe spots. Like if you just want to assemble it as it comes, you can leave those attached and you're good. That's safe, that's home base. But if you want to clip those off, you can go all crazy with the Cheese Whiz and kind of start turning things and customizing things, because we're going to see, you get down to here, the feet actually install on little swivels or little hinges, so they can, so depending on what you do, as long as you don't extend past that range of motion with your toes onto the foot itself, you're going to be able to still maintain that balance on the base. So maybe for beginners, or this is more of an advanced modeling type thing, if you want to clip those off and make it fully posable and have them walking and doing this mech warrior thing, then that's cool. But if not, it's totally understandable. You're gonna have these parts right here, and this is why this swivels as well. So this will give you the normal pose, which is roughly right here, but you can't customize this from the looks of it, which I definitely kind of want to get in there and attempt to do with my very own. And then the armor plates go right on top, and then hey, lo and behold, the arms. Everything swivels. Look, it's like a G.I. Joe figure. Like it swivels and it swivels and it swivels down here and it swivels up here. And I feel like I'm in the 80s again. I don't know, where's my Cobra and all that stuff. Man, this thing looks really. This guy reminds me. Remember that old Snake battle suit? You would put the suit over top of the G.I. Joe, so it was like you just kind of made the G.I. Joe standing there all static, and then the suit snapped over top of it, and it kind of looks like a Redemptor Dreadnought, and it had the arms, it was white. Look it up, I think it was called the Snake, S-N, they, of course, you know, each letter stood for something, so it was S period, N period, A period, I think it was battle suit. Those things were really neat, man. I really enjoyed those back in the day before all of this hobby stuff came my way. Alright, so here you've got the different options. You can put on the heavy flamer, you can put on the onslaught gatler if you want. Of course, they have different feeds depending on what you do, and all of it slots into the front right here. And then here's the assembly for the onslaught gatling cannon. The yellow is going to be all of the planes that you need to glue to. The red is the don't glue. That's going to give you your swivels and your squigglies. You're going to control the vertical and the horizontal, it looks like with this, with the assembly there. Again, same deal with the plasma incinerator. Don't glue the top right here, but you can glue all of the pieces together as far as the weapon itself goes. And then over to here, I'm going to give you the mounts. And again, watch your glue. Get you some of that brush glue. Tamiya makes some good stuff. GW makes some good stuff. Or you can use Tesla's Model Master plastic glue, which I have come to, after a long, illustrious career of about 10 years using that stuff, I'm definitely favoring the Tamiya glues these days with a little brush applicator for sure. And then there's the swivel right there. And last but certainly not least, you get to choose what you want to do weapon-wise. You want to put the Gatler on there, you want to put the plasma on there, and then there's your leg assembly. They all go together. I have not looked at this, but we're going to look at it together here. We might be able to see if this is something that you have to glue together, or if it'll just, the tolerances will just socket it together right there. Now, we get to the rules part, which we're going to show you in the rule book, but remember, and the point I haven't been making on the other two videos, is if you are down for GameX because they did not give you any of the data sheets or anything in this deck of cards, you can always cut these out and have these. I do this for my Beast Claw Raiders in Age of Sigmar. I just carry these to the tabletop and I flop them down. As long as there's no FAQs or anything, and you keep up with it, you're good to go, right? So this is kind of cool. You can just cut this off, you know, throw the rest of the instructions away when you're done with it, but now you have your own little data sheet right there. It might be a little too big, but it definitely presents the information well, and there's no wasted space, so to speak, right there. And we'll go over that here in a minute and talk about points and things. So first up, here is the first sprue, and then, oh, this looks to be the magic sprue that I wanted to talk about. So here's the underneath of the torso, and it's got this like weird, stretched out, octagonal kind of little socket right here that looks to be where the interface is for the legs or the hips. The Redemptor's hips definitely don't lie. All of your armor plating, the stacks right here, and you can definitely tell, I mean, looking at this, like this thing is ginormous. This is your exhaust stacks, and they are literally 3/8 of an inch big. That is rather large compared to the normal Dreadnought, of course. Then you've got all sorts of your gears and things. Like I said, go slow, take it easy for the first one, because these, this looks to be a very detailed and very well-orientated kit. And then there's one of your flip-down pieces there. That's going to be your first one at the bottom of the assembly. Up next looks to be some super battle weapons. So check all this out. You got your plasma coils, you got your little Gatler that goes on the fist. This looks to be the crazy plasma ammo right there. Then you've got your two different fronts you can choose from. Some armor plate for the fist. You've got your flame for the fist here. Some of your ammos in your assembly for the super Gatler. And some of the other pieces right there, some of the fingers. I mean, these things are huge. They're bigger than ½ an inch. They're almost an inch big right there. Like, these parts are ridiculous. This thing is legit big. All right, and then jumping over to here, you've got the last piece, Sarcophagus back power assembly that is almost 2 inches big by itself. More armor plating. Lots and lots of little intricate hinges and swivels and pulleys. I think this guy is held together by an intricate level of systems and pulleys. Oh, look at this. I didn't catch this in the instructions. One of the feet lays flat. One of the feet is customizable, so you can have a stepping foot and a non-stepping foot. Very similar to what we've seen with the Contemptors, right? Huh, okay. That's pretty cool to see. I'm just checking to see. Yep, that is the case. So you've got one posable foot, one static foot that has to be flat. Yep, that has to be flat. So take that in mind if you do cut those sections off and go away from home base when you're putting your gears together here. Where is... Oh, here they are right here. So here's your gear. And that's the little nub that you can cut off to go fully posable, to run naked through the posing aether there, where you can just kind of come up with any pose you want, but remember to dry fit the crap out of that so you don't ruin your kit. Now, let's take a look at the rules for this bad boy in the new Space Marine Codex. All right, here it is. Oh, nope, here is not it. Is this guy a... Pretty sure he is a heavy support, which is probably going to be at the back. I did not bookmark it. I am such a bad person right there. Contemptor, Stern Guard. Oh my goodness, I am the worst. I did not prepare my video correctly. I was so excited to get in here and take a look at this bad boy. Let's see, Defenders of Mankind, Redemptor. Oh, of course, it's not in alphabetical order. It's in page number order. Well, that's very nice of them. Let's see, Redemptor Dreadnought 166. I was so close, yet so far away. All right, there we go. So there's a Contemptor Dreadnought. This is going to match the data sheet right there for the most part. We know he has the varying profile right here, which doesn't seem too bad. He's got 10 wounds. Could be better, could be worse. So once you get down to halves, you're going to go up to hitting on 3s in both combat and shooting, but normally 2s, which seems pretty solid to be very matter-of-factly blunt, but that's really good. And then we jump into a single model. Oh, what am I doing? I'm reading the Contemptor. Goodness. let's pretend that just didn't happen. Nothing to see here. Move along. I was like, why does this thing not have any options? All right, I was like, man, this thing is so good. 13. Okay, I was like, I know that is bonk. Like, I was like, how does it only have 10? I'm thinking to myself, it's only got 10 wounds. Something's wrong here. All right, anyways, 13 wounds, toughness 7, strength 7. Now, there's ways to augment this. We've seen there's a psychic power that can augment toughnesses, so it gets you up to 8. I don't know if it's worth it to get up to 8. Could be, depending on your battle plan and what's going on and how you're using these. Movement of 8. It's going to be pretty effective, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3, or hitting on 3s in both combat and shooting for the most part until it takes half damage there. It's going to come with the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, a Heavy Flamer, Icarus Rocket Pod, and 2 Fragstorm Grenade Launchers and a Redemptor Fist. Remember, the Fragstorms are in the front Sarcophagus area right there. You can, of course, sub out Heavy Flamer for the other Gatler. You can sub out the Big Gatler for the Plasma. And you can sub out the Fragstorm Grenade Launchers for 2 Storm Bolters if you so desire. It does explode on a 6 and does the Lord's work with D6 mortal wounds. Sometimes you want it to happen, sometimes you don't want it to happen. But either way, you generally always want to re-roll the results, so make sure you save some command points for that one. Alright, so first up, Fragstorm Grenade Launcher, Assault D6. I feel like we've seen this before on the aggressors. Heavy Flamer, nothing new there. That profile is pretty obvious to most people at this point in 8th edition. Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon is a heavy 12, hitting on 3s, of course, for the most part. Strength of 5, neg 1 AP. That seems pretty good. Icarus Rocket Pod, heavy D3, strength 7, and neg 1 AP. Add 1 all-hit rolls against targets that can fly, and remember, things can fly, not just aircraft. Things like crisis suits and assault troops and jet bikes, all sorts of things. So that is way better than it sounds at first look. Subtract 1 for hit rolls made for this weapon against all other targets. So there you go. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away right there. Macro Plasma Incinerator. Haven't seen this before. Standard. Both at 36. Supercharge. Let's check out the bad on the supercharge. For each hit roll of 1, the bear suffers 1 mortal wound after all of its weapon shots has been resolved. Sold. I'll take it. That's a good one. Heavy D6. Strength of 9. Ooh, that is saucy. That is super saucy. It's almost 10, but not quite. Neg 4. AP does 2 damage, or you can just go with the strength 8, which is probably good for most cases, unless you're going up against something that's toughness 8, aka another vehicle. Then you're going to want to bust out with the supercharge. Of course, neg 4 and 1 damage getting through right there, and then the Onslaught Gatling Cannon just adds you more shots at the same profile as the Big Daddy one right there. Storm Bolter, we've seen that before, and Redemptor Fist, well, as you could be expected to imagine, this is strength times 2, which is only going to get you up to a strength of 14, so not quite enough to be wounding on 2s against toughness 8, but it will wound against 2s on toughness 7. Neg 3 AP, D6 damage. All around, I think it's a pretty good Dreadnought stat-wise when we're not reading the Contemptor. Oh, it's so embarrassing. It was just me and you here, right? Don't tell anybody I did that. Redemptor Dreadnought's clocking in at 140 points. And then, of course, you got to pay for all the goodies. So let's tally those up in the normal configuration right here. So started on the clock, we've got Fragstorm Grenade Launcher. We know that one is 4 points, right? Yep, 4 points right there. That is gonna, let's see, Icarus Rocket Pod. Icarus Rocket Pod is 6, so 10 points all day, so we're up to 150. Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, 36, so that's 186. Heavy Flamer, I think that's 8. Heavy Flamer, 17. What? So, okay, 197, I guess. Two Fragstorm Grenade Launchers. Okay, so that's 191 and a Redemptor Fist. Oh my, Redemptor Fist. Let's see what the Redemptor Fist is. Redemptor Fist is 0. Got him. So under 200 points for this bad boy. right here. It is configuration just for S&G. Let's find out what the Macroplasma Incinerator goes for on the points market. 31 points. Woo! That's spicy meatball. So it's slightly less than the Onslaught Gatling Cannon. And I don't know, it might be more effective, to be quite honest. Maybe they're taking that into account for the wounds you're going to do to yourself when you supercharge it to hit those toughness 8 wounded units right there. So that's it for this one, folks. Thanks for bearing with me. I know it was a long one, but man, this thing is super fun. I can't wait to get mine together and go pew 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 pew, AT Walker across the tabletop, because this thing actually looks like it could freaking walk across the tabletop and not, you know, do the little swivel that the normal traditional dreadnoughts do, I suppose. So if you like our video features here on this channel, make sure you subscribe to us and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to comment and thumbs up our videos here. And be sure to head on over to longwar.net. That's the home of the 8th edition battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.